What's up, Dragon Nation? I'm Rich with Dragon Nation Gaming. Welcome back to Space Engineers. Today we're going to be going over a few different things. We decided to go ahead and move our base. A couple people said that I should stay on the planet, so that's what we're going to do. But we have a lot of shit to do. A whole lot to do. I got an idea of how we're going to build our permanent base, but it's going to be a whole lot of work. It's going to be a ton of work. It's going to take quite some time. So we might as well get started on it, so stay tuned. So if you haven't guessed by now, this is where our new location is going to be. I decided, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I keep wanting to build into mountains. It's better armor that way, and it's better to build a better looking base when you don't actually have to worry about the exterior. We'll just have this mountain as our exterior. But I keep doing that to myself. It's kind of time consuming to actually dig into a mountain and dig it out enough to build a base. Now, there are some ways around it. One, you can go into creative mode and use voxel hands to clear out an area, or you could use explosives, or you could use a drill ship. But there's another way of doing it that I have done before, but it's been quite some time, and I don't have the blueprint for it anymore, so I'm gonna have to start from scratch. Which means we're going to have to go over every little detail of it. I don't even know if I'll be able to get it done in this episode. It's going to take quite some time, man. It is going to be hell. But we might as well get started on it. Now, the thing that I'm talking about building is the space elevator. But we're going to lay it on its side so that way we can dig into the mountain. I'm not going to go all the way through the mountain. I'm just going to go halfway in. See, here's what I want to do. I want to try to... Do I have Yeah, I got hydrogen. I'm good. I want to try to dig it deep enough to where I'm even with a nice flat spot, because we're going to dig up as well. I kind of decided the best place to put a space elevator was going through the mountain. At some point, we are going to build a space elevator going up into space, or at least try it. It didn't work before. I could never get the damn thing to work, but we'll see if it does now. Wow, this is actually pretty damn high. But yeah, this is... And it's deep, too. Looks like this is the top. And I think we're lined up right here. So yeah, looks like our space elevator is going to come out right there. That's a long freaking way to dig, and there's going to have to be... I'm going to have to figure out some methods to make sure that I am deep enough for that. Also, we're going to need vehicle bays for rovers. We're going to need landing pads for air vehicles. That one. Which means we're probably going to have a landing pad somewhere halfway up this mountain. This cliff right here. And the rovers, that's why I actually chose this spot. Because for the rovers, I could actually build a bridge across this ditch. Which I thought would be a nice little thing to add. I'm procrastinating, if you haven't figured that out. This is the line that I kind of chose to make the hole that we're going to dig is going to be in line with this. But I think it's... even. If it's not a big deal. But I try to make it as even as possible. I am going to have to get rid of all this because I think in order to start, I actually want to follow that line So I'm going to have to get rid of these blocks because that's where the conveyors need to go. So if you guys haven't seen the video that I did of the space elevator, it's too late. I deleted it. I went through all my videos and deleted a lot of stuff. Actually, everything. I decided it's time to start over. Just no more videos, no more playlists, just start completely over. I think I have 5 videos on YouTube now. Not a big deal. We'll get it back up sooner or later. But yeah, I need to go ahead and get rid of this, and we're going to start with a conveyor junction. But I think my inventory's full. Yeah, it is. Let's go ahead and grab our little ship here, and I need to use its cargo space. I turned it off, so I want to use all the battery power, because the battery power is going pretty quick. The batteries don't last as long as they used to. Alright, I think that should be good enough. Alright, let's go ahead and just put that into the connector. I could grab more later. We're just going to start out with steel plates and get everything laid out, and then I'll build everything on my own. Oh yeah, and one thing they did do in the game is they added different textures for the blocks, which is kind of cool. I went ahead and downloaded the DLC. Now, we have one that, carbon fiber? I don't know about that one. Let's see what it looks like. It looks like basket weaving. I don't know. I kind of, maybe with small ship blocks. Maybe. Alright, let's try one of the other ones. Here we have digital armor. Oh, I do like that one. I'll definitely use that on ships. It'll probably be better in different colors though. Gray probably just kind of sucks. And then we have the regular armor, which is the default armor, which looks kind of grungy and dirty. And then we have the new armor, which is actually the one I've been choosing. Let me go ahead and make sure that I do have it selected. There we go. Let's go ahead and replace these. There we go. Alright, so like I said, I haven't built this thing in a while. And I almost completely forget how to build it. So this is going to take some trial and error. I think I remember, but I'm not 100% sure. There we go. Got rid of those. Now, let's see. How am I going to do this? Alright, let's go ahead. Get rid of that block. Let's switch it out with conveyor junction. What do I need? Interior plates. Why the hell not? Alright, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this ship back over to our starter base. Grab a bunch of resources, get them stored into the cargo container. That way we're not running out all the damn time and have to fly back and forth. And once I get back, we'll go ahead and start this. Alright, here we go. So, I kind of forgot to tell the other base, the assembler, to go ahead and process all the components that we're going to need. So, I had to go back over there and make sure everything is processing. It's going to take quite some time for all that to process. It's a lot of shit that we're going to be needing for this, so it's going to take quite some time. But we could go ahead and try to figure out if I could get the layout, because I'm not 100% sure if I can remember how to do this. So what we're going to start out with is conveyor junction, and is that right? Yeah, we have to. And then another conveyor junction right on the end of it. Now, the point of the conveyor junction is at some point we are going to be using projector with welders. So we're going to need a production facility with, I think it was 7 assemblers. I don't know. I'll have to double check all that. But at some point we are going to need a little bit of a production facility back here. And I need it to connect to the center right there. We'll get all that figured out at some other point. Right now we're just trying to get this guy made, if I can figure it out. Alright, so first thing we're going to need is, let's go to our first toolbar. We're going to need mergers, and we're also going to need connectors, which it looks like we already have. Then we're also going to need conveyors, which we have in toolbar 2. Anything else? Pistons. That's what we're going to need. Now, this thing, I think, if I remember correctly, I actually called it the worm. I can't remember, though, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the mergers. The mergers are what keeps the whole thing stable and connects it to our worm, so that way the projection works with the welders. I have to remember how to do all that, though. There was some stuff I needed to do to get it to work in this game. But we're going to have a merger on all 3 sides. Now, if I was going straight up into the sky with the space elevator doing this, I would have merge blocks on all 4 sides. But what I'm going to try to do is create kind of like a half moon. So it's only going to be half of a circle. Alright, so now that we have those, what we need is connector. Now, you don't have to exactly build it like this. You can build it a little bit differently. I just want to try to make sure this thing is as stable as possible, especially since it is going to be laying on its side. Alright, so now that we have that, the next thing I'm going to have to figure out is, yeah, how long this is going to be, because we're actually going to have a little bit of space with just regular conveyors. And I think it's 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a conveyor junction, and then mergers right there. Like I said, I can't remember 100%, so we're going to have to figure this out. In order to figure this out, we're going to go ahead and start with the actual worm itself, the thing that's actually going to be moving through the side of the mountain. I just have to remember how to start it. Alright, let's see. Let's go down this way a little bit so we have a little bit of space. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need is we're going to have pistons that will actually extend and... Yeah, is this the way I did it? Yeah. There's going to be pistons that are going to extend, and it's going to connect those connectors and merge blocks to the worm. So we do actually need 1 space for those to be able to move. Then the connector and merge block will go right there. Piston is 2 blocks long, and then conveyor junction. Right? I think. Oh, this has been so long. Alright, so what we need is the conveyor junction to go to where the connector is. So let me go ahead and pick the conveyor junction. And now we get a test to see if I'm right about this. Am I? And then we're going to have to weld this all up because I need to get all these pistons and everything named. Yeah, I think that was correct. Alright, so connector that will connect to that connector. Let's turn it that way. And then right under that, we need a merge block. Now, there's a reason why I'm doing that. I mean, a lot of people be sitting there saying, why are you using the merge blocks? Just use the connectors. Well, in order for a welder to actually weld up, or the way it used to be, I don't know how it is anymore in the game, but I'm going to have a projector that needs to move. The projection that we're going to project is going to go into the mountain as the worm moves. So it actually needs to be connected to the worm. But what we're going to be welding is the centerpiece, the pole, I guess you could call this the tube, that is going to go through the entire center. So what we need to do is make sure that the projector is connected to what we're welding in order to make that work. I think that's how I did it. It's been a while. If you don't actually have them connected with the merge block, it won't work. So that's why I had to put a projector like right here on the side of the merge block, because I can't put it back here. Because this half of the piston is considered a separate entity than the head. So unfortunately, that's how I have to do it. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is we need the pistons that will actually cause this thing to crawl through the mountain. And I think there was 3 of those, if I'm not mistaken. 1. Oh, come on. 2. And come on, dude. Shit. There we go. 3. Yeah, it looks like I was right. It was 3, and I think that is how long it's going to be. Yeah, then we need conveyor junction. And then we just need a merge block. Up here, we don't need the connector. The connector is so that way we can actually pass components through to the welders, which are going to be later. If I didn't have a connector, I wouldn't, and just had the merge block, I wouldn't be able to pass that stuff through when it goes up to the welders, when they weld. So that's very, very important. So then we're going to put a piston and a merge block, because I don't need connector right here. Now, as you can see, these 2 right here are supposed to connect at some point, but they're not even, which means I have to change that piston right there to have a minimum distance so that it's even with that merger. But now that we know how this thing is supposed to look, we can actually make the blueprint that's going to be on the projector for this thing. We got a lot to do. But what I need to do first is I need to go ahead and get all this stuff welded up. That way I can get everything named. Also, what I'm going to do real quick on my own, so that way I'm not wasting your guys' time, is I need to do the same thing that's right here on this side and on the top as well. Then I'll get those welded so I can get everything named, all the pistons, the connectors, and the merge blocks. Get everything named so that way it's easier to program this thing. That one is going to be fun. So let me go ahead and get stuff welded, get these other parts made, and once I have that done, we'll be right back. Alright, so here we go. I went ahead and added a few batteries, that way we can actually move the pistons and figure out where they need to be. The one thing I don't want to do is overextend these pistons and then have them freak out. I want to make sure that the pistons only extend long enough to where everything will connect. Now, the good thing is right now, since it is all considered, well, everything under here is considered the same object or same ship, they won't actually connect together, these 2 merge blocks. Actually, before I lie to you, let's try this out. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I went ahead and named, I don't have those mergers. Oh, those are the center. I don't need to name those. I went ahead and named everything. So let me go through these real quick. This piston, that piston, and that piston, I named piston bottom. Then you have the connectors, which are that one, and that one are connectors bottom. And then we have that merge block, and that merge block are merge block bottom. Then you have the 3 pistons right here, on here, here, and here. Those ones are piston lift, because they're actually going to lift the whole thing. I know when it's laying down, it's not actually lifting, but this is how I did it when I did the elevator, so it's just easier for me that way. And then, of course, we have this piston right here, that piston right there, and that piston right there, which are piston upper, I do believe. Then we have that merge block, this merge block, and that merge block, which are merge block upper. Yeah. So everything that's in yellow right now will be one machine, except for the center right there. I guess I should have changed the color on those to make it a little bit more obvious. But all of this back here is going to be deleted. But I don't want to do that until I'm sure that this thing is connected. Next thing we'll need to do is make sure that this conveyor junction is connected to that conveyor junction on both sides. So that way this whole thing is one entity. And then once we get to the welders, we'll need to figure out how to get those all connected, because since they're considered separate entities because of the pistons and the heads, we'll have to do a little bit of a trick to connect all those together. It's actually a really easy trick, but we'll get into that when the time comes. It'll have to be on a different episode. I forgot just how complicated this thing can be. So the first thing I want to do right now is this piston, which is the one on the top, that piston right there on the top, and that piston right there on the top. I want to kind of just change the name just a little. Just kind of add a little something so that way I could tell the difference between the other lift pistons. Because these three pistons are going to need, the settings are going to need to be changed, and they're all going to need to be the same. I need to make sure that everything is correct, and everything, the speeds, the minimum distance, the maximum distance, everything is the same, or this whole thing is just going to screw up on me. Alright, so now that those three are changed, first thing we need to do is figure out the spacing right there, which I think that gap, I do believe if I set the max distance for, let me see, max distance 2.3, let's try that. And then we'll reverse it, we'll wait until it stops, and then we'll see what this number is right here. And it looks like it's 2.3. So as you can see, since they are considered the same entity right now, they won't connect together. But once I actually get rid of all this gray, these gray blocks, they will connect. And then we'll also have to connect the connectors so we can pass components through. But this center line right here is where all the components are going up. So when this thing comes, when it moves into the mountain a little bit, I will have access to the components. You guys will figure that out. And this is going to probably take me a couple of videos because there's a lot that we need to do. Alright, now that we have that one, let's go ahead and reverse it. Making sure that everything is the same. Alright, now we need to go to, I set everything in a group as well, so we need to go piston bottom, which should select those three bottom pistons. Yes, they are. So the max distance we're going to set to 2.3. And velocity we're going to go ahead and set to 1. Let's actually make sure those... And I didn't set it for a negative number, that's why they extended. So... yeah, this one didn't change. Huh. Alright, let's change this one as well. Luckily, nothing blew up. So 2.3. Alright, so now we should be good. What I could do right now is, since this is pretty much how the whole thing will start, once we get the timer set up. Yeah, I know, it's complicated. There's a lot of shit to this. Let's go ahead and connectors bottom. Let's go ahead and lock those. So now this thing will be able to pass components through to the center. So when I do extend this and the whole machine moves, I will have access to those components. Also, I built this. When we get to the projector, this is going to be the blueprint for the extensions. That's what the welders are going to be building. Next thing we need to do is we need to change this piston right here so that these two merge blocks actually match up. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to do something. Shit. That's alright. What I need to do is I need to extend this part out one more section. So I need to put that up here. So that way I can see when this is fully extended, I need to set this to a max distance as well. But let's go ahead and set the minimum distance, which I do believe would be 2, maybe, I think. And if you're also wondering how I'm changing the precise distance, just hold down Control and left click, and you can change it precisely. So let's go ahead and type up here. We'll go hashtag make sure all of these are changed as well. Minimum distance 2. I think it's 2. We'll have to check. Alright, that one's changed. And this one is changed. So let's go ahead and extend those pistons. Wait till they're out past 2. There we go. And just reverse them back. And now they should all be at 2. Let's see how that was perfect. Actually, let's grab a block real quick. And yeah, it looks like that is perfect. All of them are done. So that is the minimum distance set on these pistons. Next thing we need to do is set the max distance, which means I need to go ahead and build that right over here. That's going to take me, should only take me a minute. Alright, I went ahead and built the next section. As you can see, the pistons come out just a little too much. So I need to go ahead and bring the max distance back just a little bit. It looks like, I'm not sure. We're going to have to see. I think it might be 9.2. Max distance 9.2. Let's go ahead and reverse it. Bring it back to 9.2. Reverse again until it stops. Okay, 9.2 is not correct. So we'll just go ahead and change that number until it actually matches up. So max distance 9.3. It's probably 4 or 5. Yeah, let's try 9.5. So max distance 9.5. Actually, that looks like, I think that's the best that's going to get. So it looks like it's 9.5. So what I need to do is go ahead and change the other 3 pistons to a max distance of 9.5. So shift hashtag, make sure I have the right pistons. And then what we're also going to do, this one's 9.5, we're also going to change the velocity to the minimum that it can go, because as these are extending, the welders are going to be welding up the center pillar, but we need to make sure it's moving slowly so that way the welders have time to weld up. They kind of nerfed the welders just a little bit in the game, so they are kind of slow at the moment, which is okay. We can work with it. Now there are mods that give you more precise timing, but I don't have those mods. I might be adding some mods here pretty soon. I don't think I'll have much of a choice, so we'll go 0.1, and now this one. We'll go ahead and change that one to 0.1, and max distance to 9.5. There we go. And now we can go ahead and select all the lift pistons. And, well, no. Why are they not showing up? Hold on. There we go. Alright, so what we need is lift. Yeah, I need to go ahead and bring these back because I'm not going to have a whole lot of room. So, reverse. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I can only change the speed on those pistons. I also have to change the speed on the other pistons as well, because as you can see, it's moving just a little bit fast. So I need to make sure that they are slow. So, lift. And velocity. We'll go ahead and set that 0.1, and we'll see just how slow they go when they all extend. That's the best we're going to get. Hopefully that is slow enough for the welders to weld. The welders are actually going to be on top. They're going to be pointed down towards the center pillar. And say this right here is a projection, holographic projection from the projector, and the welders are pointing down like right up here, and they'll be building as they go up. And then what will happen is we also have to change these pistons. So Upper pistons, upper, we also need to change these to max distance 2.3, I think it was. And we'll change the velocity to 1. Those ones can move a little bit quicker because that's how the thing climbs. So yeah, this piston's already done because it's not going as far. And that piston are still extending. So since this one isn't extending right now, we don't have the speed of its extension. So it's going to move a little bit slower. So let me go ahead and make sure that the upper pistons all were changed. Where are they at? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Alright, so 2.3 and 1. 2.3 and 1. 2.3 and 1. Let me go ahead and also do pistons bottom, make sure that their speed is changed. I did. Yes, I did. Alright. So this is pretty much the setup right now. This is just the basic setup. There's still a lot more that we have to do. Why did you guys extend? You little pricks. I guess I told him to extend. I don't know. But as you can see, that's what kind of happens is this piston will extend. The merge blocks will hold the whole system together up there so that all this can disconnect. The piston will retract. Then these pistons will retract and the whole thing will move this way. It's actually not a bad system. It's just kind of complicated at times. But we could go ahead and disconnect that by going merge blocks upper, shutting those off, and then pistons upper reverse. And then we'll go ahead and make sure that those merge blocks are turned back on. Okay, it's not going to let me. Yeah, a lot of things are buggy. So merge blocks upper on. And there we go. Then we'll go ahead and retract all the lift pistons. Get this thing back to square one. And the reason I'm going to do that is I still have some to build up here. And as you can see, we are kind of close to the wall. So I need to get rid of this half of the center pillar as well. But yeah, we still have a long way to go. I think this episode's going to be just a little bit longer than I was hoping, but we got one part done. This is probably going to be a three-part machine that we have to build here. It'll take 3 episodes. But it should be fun and it should be cool to see once it gets started. Next episode, we'll go ahead and start on projections, timers, getting everything connected. And then we also need fabrication. We need components to supply this whole thing. It's still a lot of work, but we'll worry about that in the next episode. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.